Everyone. My name is Sunny Dhiman and this work is presented by me, Sunny Dhiman, and my colleague Akhilesh Yadav and Professor Rajbir Singh. I'm from Center for Studies in Science Policy, and I'm going to tell a story today. It's a story about the epitome of green revolution in the world, which was the present day Punjab in India, and also to a certain extent the Punjab in Pakistan. But I'm focusing on the Punjab in India. So there is a plethora of research on the green revolution and multiple aspects of green revolution. But let me show you a different picture. Punjab, which is 1.5% of India's land mass, produces roughly 17% of wheat and 35% of rice. And despite this fact, there is a starking number that despite feeding the nation, the 80% of the groundwater is overexploited. One in third people tested with their blood, we have found pesticide is present there, and the cancer rate is double the national average of India. And we usually ask a very common question, which is what went wrong during Green Revolution. But I think this question is quite difficult when I applied MLP during my PhD thesis. This research is an extension of my PhD thesis, because what I found that there was no single transition. There was twin transition, or I'll say double transition, in two different phases. And it began in 1849 when the British annexed Punjab, the today's Punjab. And what they did, they transferred a very vast number of people from the eastern Punjab, the present day India's Punjab, to the western Punjab, and they built world's largest canal colony system to get the British factory running with the cotton, and so that to feed the empire with the wheat. So the productivist mode of agriculture without the high yielding varieties was already founded by the Britishers before the Green Revolution came, but it was in the western side of the Punjab, which is in the present day Pakistan. So this research delves into the three interlinked questions that today Punjab is in lock-in. We have seen in the previous image. So it's a polycrisis right now in Punjab. Is a perfect case to understand polycrisis. So first question is, how did the historical transition, which was created by the colonial regime and also later on by the Green Revolution, came into existence? And second is the very important thing that Punjab has faced. Punjab farmer has faced one of the biggest challenge recently. They were sitting on a protest, world's largest protest during the time of pandemic, and their demands were implementing the MSP. They were fear that MSP, the minimum support price by the government of India, this should not go away. So in a sense that they were resisting and also they were reinforcing. So we wanted to know why that happened, why they were resisting and reinforcing the dominant regime which is killing the Punjab itself. And the third is it sufficient, the pathways suggested by Giles in 2007 paper, where there are 4 pathways of transition, are they sufficient to explain the transition in Punjab what happened, which I found quite difficult. Initially, I concluded that it is reconfiguration with the elements of other, but it was difficult for me to digest. That's why I delved into this research later on. So this is the conclusion. We are moving towards conclusion. So there was no transition. I'll rather say it was transplantation. So first transplantation happened when the canal colony was built in western Punjab. And the Lailpur College, which later became Lailpur Agriculture College, was founded in Punjab so that they can do research. They can bring the research from the global north context or the colonial context to the Punjab context, so that they can feed the factories and the people in the north. And the most important thing was the Land Alienation Act. it created a caste hierarchy, it created a martial race idea in the Punjab, which still exists today, which founded the present day problem that Punjab's population has 37% Dalit who are untouchable, and their representation in the land owning is less than 1%, and whereas Jat or Jat Sikh in Punjab, they are roughly 25% population, but they own more than 70% of land. And this was not done accidentally. It happened during the time of Britishers. They created they created a system of caste which said that this kind of caste can only do the agriculture, this kind of caste can only have the land. And lastly, the Britishers, they concluded that when they were studying agriculture system in Punjab, they said that, and I'm quoting Britishers, that they said that in the Punjab's agriculture tools and machinery is clumsy and old and outdated. So the second part, which is quite known, that of course it was when the landscape pressure was quite high after the partition, 70% of India's irrigated land was transferred to Pakistan, and India was facing war. India was facing the fear of famine, because Bengal famine was haunting the independent India. And during that scenario, India was going towards the Rockefeller, Ford Foundation, USAID. They tried to implement the productivist mode of agriculture, which was happening in the United States, to India. They founded they helped to create Punjab Agriculture University, which was kind of a replica of Iowa State Land Grant University system. And they brought en masse the package: high yielding variety, chemicals, the pesticide, the fertilizers, machinery, and also the institutional mechanism, which is MSP. But it didn't come directly. It came via Mexico, and I'm fortunate that she's sitting here, she's working there, and the CIMMYT and IIRRI. So from there it came to India, and Punjab, which never had rice, Punjab's culture, they don't eat rice even today, but today they are producing 35% of India's rice demand, and it only happened because of this transition. So what is this transplantation? The transplantation is, first you delegitimize the existing knowledge of agriculture, then you clear the ground, and then you install the model which you wanted to create. And that is the best case here. And one more point which I'm missing. So what is the difference between the transition and the transplantation, or I'll rather say the reconfiguration and the transplantation? In reconfiguration, old and new coexist, but here in transplantation, the old has to be cleaned. So there has to be epistemic clearing first. You prepare the ground and then you transplant, and that's what happened in Punjab. And so MLP addressed my PhD question, and I was not happy with that, so I have to engage with the other theoretical perspective, which Catherine was asking, like what kind of theoretical perspective are you adding into the sustainable transition research? So MLP aptly explained what happened, and critical realism, which Giles recently introduced, it also says the deep structure which made those things happen. But the most important thing which I am focusing upon, which is that why did farmer protested and also protected the dying regime in the time of pandemic, when everything was closed, people were dying? Why they were protesting? They were sitting for 2 long years, and millions of farmers participated. So that question led me to that. So this is the agro-food socio-technical regime. It has socio-technical, socio-economic elements, actors, institutions, and they all are entangled with each other. Everything is entangled with each other. It will take roughly 1 more hour to explain this, so I'm just skipping it. So to cut the long story short, it was the colonial Green Revolution and the present day polycrisis. We can link from 1849 to 2024-25, when the 2022-21 when the protesters were sitting, and even 2 years back they were sitting at the Punjab border, and their only demand was to maintain the status quo that they wanted to grow rice, they wanted to sell it to government so that they can ensure that we'll get the minimum what we wanted. But the real point which I have found here is the farmer were resisting, but at the same time they wanted the same system to remain. It was because of the lock-in, and the lock-in was not at the material level. Lock-in was also at the level of ideology, because today the chemical farming, chemical monoculture, it becomes a common sense, which Gramsci aptly put. So this common sense is equal to modernity, progress, and this way of production, the chemical monoculture, and the state absorbed the descent, which without any structural changes. And this is aptly said by Chatterjee, that this is passive revolution. So this is my research methodology. So it's extension of my PhD. So it's work in progress. The interviews are some interviews are conducted. So some are lined up. So skipping this part. So the finding part, the last, almost the last part. So you can see these farmers sitting there. So it's at least showing that the lock-in, which I said earlier, that it's not just at the material level, it is deepest lock-in at the cognitive level. When the farmers, when I was interviewing people in Punjab, they said most of the farmers in Punjab, they are indebted, but they are so afraid that there is no other way. So they are no more farmers. What they do, they have seed which they don't grow, they have pesticide which they don't create, they have fertilizer which they don't create. Everything is kind of a conveyor belt, and they don't know what is farming anymore, because they don't own seed anymore. So they are afraid if this part is gone, we will never own our land. The land will be gone, and the idea of land was implanted in the farmers of Punjab, Haryana, and Pakistan's Punjab by the Britishers when they created the Land Alienation Act, when they made sure that certain caste and community can only be farmers. And the second part is, of course, that I've already said earlier, but and the third takeaway is that Giles assume that there is 4 pathways, but I say that there is some exogenous method when the whole system is transplanted. So which is I'm trying to build argument around that it is socio-technical transition in bracket transplantation. So this is Punjab, so I'm aptly putting it. So this smoke is not just a metaphor. It is Punjab aptly showing how it is deeply entrenched. It is the regime on your face. You can see from space, because every year the farmers of Punjab have to burn their the rice agriculture waste, and that becomes so dense that the air in Delhi reaches above 1000 AQI. There are other factors also, but this is the condition of Punjab today, and this is the regime on your face. So what are the takeaway for this nest community or transition community? First is theoretical, that we need to engage power, politics, and also what happens in your brains, how you create common sense, how you create the consent. And the second part is that we need to acknowledge the epistemic justice has to be delivered. We need to first acknowledge how we reached here in order to understand how can we go away from this polycrisis. And lastly, today what I see that the energy transition which is happening in India, it is kind of a mirror which happened during time of Green Revolution. The technology, the institution, they mostly are kind of transplanted, and my friend just said in case of Jammu and Kashmir, then people are resisting the green energy because we need green energy right now, but are we able to engage? Are we creating our local epistemology to engage? So these are the takeaway. And lastly, just lastly, a famous astronaut went to moon and they clicked a picture of Earth rising, and he said that we came so far from Earth to study moon, but the most important thing in the world is our Earth, our mother Earth. And the same I can use in our case. We have came so far to study MLP, transition pathways, regime, but the real question is how we came here, our past, and that is the summary of my research. Thank you. Any questions?
So one quick question. I was going to ask you if you have Frank Hills in the room right now, what would you say to him? Give me a 30-second elevator pitch to Frank.
No. I tried to take it in 2024 and he was quite angry. So I need to do it. So that's why I have to engage with Gramsci, because I didn't have the clear idea how to address his questions, because he asked me the same question, like it is transformation plus the elements of the hybridization, but I found that it is not just these things, there's something missing. So I'm building on it. My research can conclude whether I can add something or I can edit something or I can accept something.